Hello guys, welcome to this quick tip. As I'm doing here the work of the CV boot, I'm also replacing the gearbox oil. The recommended oil is the Autel Technics oil. It was originally 75W80 and over the years is now 75W85. But more important than that, it has to be synthetic. Okay, now to do so I took out the drain plug for the gearbox, and while it is draining I'm doing the suspension work over here. Okay, and now on top of the car I will put this homemade funnel thing. It has to have a very fine tube, because if it enters too fast on the gearbox the oil will spill out and create a huge mess. Okay, the amount of quantity that you want to put inside of this particular gearbox is 2.1 liters. Okay, so I have purchased 3 liters and I put 2 and 100 milliliters more. Now to put in this tube you have on top of the diff you have a dipstick. Yes, a dipstick to see the level of the gearboxes, and they say Fiat sucks. Oh my god. So you take out that dipstick and it is through that hole that you put in the new oil. But you can ask yourself, while I'm draining the oil, the appearance of the oil, it appears to be new gearbox oil. Why I'm replacing new gearbox oil? It is not new. It has about 3 years. It passed due the time and kilometers to do so. But remember, this is not oil from the engine. It is a gearbox oil. If the oil was already dark and thick and grimy, the gearbox is not that good. So I prefer to do it like this. While the oil is apparently good, it's time to replace. Now, it is now. You want to replace the oil while it is still with good appearance. Once the oil gets bad appearance, forget it. The gearbox has its days counted. Now, as the oil is going in, I can do the rest of the assembly of the suspension or whatever components I have disassembled and just wait for it to do its thing. As usual, when we are talking about fluids, you must change it a bit warm, okay? Drive the car around. Gearbox and power steering alike like to be more hot than the engine oil because they tend to be more difficult to heat up. So drive the car a little bit more than usual and then drain the gearbox oil. And for the power steering fluid, that's for another video, okay? Ooh. Nasty. Already talk about the lifetime oils, which they are not, okay? But there is one more thing on that clause of the lifetime. It says that every time, no matter if it is lifetime or not, every time you remove the gearbox and remove the oil from the inside of the gearbox, you have to replace it, even though it is lifetime, okay? That really does not matter right now or ever. What matters is you have to replace the oil every 2 years or 60,000 kilometers. This is the fill-up plug for the gearbox oil, and it has to be like this. You have to tap it in order to remove it. It does not use any crush washer at all. And so for my country, for this climate, I'm using here a 75W90, a GL45. To replace the gearbox oil on this gearbox, this is the base C510 gearbox. It is applied on the Mitos or 5-speed Mitos, on the Alfa 155, on the 156 gasoline models, and so many other models. This is the lower drain plug over here, and up here is the fill-up plug. These drain plugs do not require any gasket or any washer because they are cone shaped, as you can see over here. If you want to, you can use a little bit of Loctite just to be safe, but normally that is not necessary. This is true for the lower one and also the upper one. While the oil is draining, remove here this fill-up plug. It's not necessary to be this tight, it's too much. And then you want to put the oil until it drips out of the hole. About 1.8 liter or 2 liter, depending on the size of the gearbox. The fill-up plug is different from the drain one. Not only the size, but also this one has the magnet that catches all of the pieces of metal that normally form inside of the gearbox because of the grinding and the synchronizers and whatnot, okay? So no big chunks over here, which is nice. So make sure if you have two different ones, the one that has the magnet is the lower one. Are you okay? Yeah. And it does not have... Ciao. Bye. So this is the bottom of the gearbox. This is a transaxle gearbox. And before you take out the drain plug to see how much oil can you take out and what is the condition of said oil, make sure that you can take out the fill-up plug that is on the other side of the gearbox. And so here you have it. This is the fill-up plug. When you are putting in the oil, once the oil is dripping down the fill-up hole, it is time to stop putting in more oil. Okay, so sometimes when you take it out this fill-up plug, some oil may come out. On this case, no, nothing. And I have an oil leak over here, very big one. I think it's from the seal for the output shaft. One more tip here. Using a new or old zip tie, you can do a dipstick. You bend it like this to do a 90-degree angle, and this corner right here will fit neatly on the inside of the threading of the gearbox. In that way, creating a point that you can see exactly what is the level of the gearbox without having to take out the oil on the inside of the gearbox. In my case, I will take it out because I want to replace it, but I can see right there that I have about 1 centimeter down on the oil level. That's a bit. And the oil is milky too. Very strange. The oil is very milky. Very strange indeed. I have some things here on the magnet, but nothing too much. So let it rain. Now I will have a bite. So for the gearbox, easy peasy. Gearbox and differential, 75W90 or 75W90. So let's see what we have here. And sure enough, we have here 75W90. I have 3 liters because this gearbox uses 2.6, I believe. So yeah, nah, that's not 2.6. It's 3.1 liters of 7590. Yeah, those oil companies that have the websites must have something wrong, because every single time I check the levels, they are always low on the websites. About the oil over here, as far as I know, no modifications are required about the quantity or type, and you just need to stick with the 75W oil, the monograde, and that's it. If are any modifications, please tell me down in the comments, okay? I like to measure every time I take out the oil, because sometimes I get a surprise of low oil, like I did on the 166 earlier this week. I just have half of a liter of oil on the gearbox. This one appears to have a lot, but I want to measure it anyway. So just drain the most of it so you can continue your work. Once I have the gearbox in, I take out again the plug to take out the rest of the oil, okay? No washer required because the plug is cone-shaped, is tapered. Okay, so it self-locks, it self-seals. Well, that being said, it only had 175 liters of oil, and I think that is not enough, not even close. So I have to check out the specs of this gearbox. So it turns out that this gearbox uses 2 liters of oil, 75W. And the oil goes through a hole that is right there, over there on the bottom, okay, where the hose goes.